All right, good morning. Today is Saturday, June 1st, 2019. Welcome to the Sweet Talk. My name is Kim Matina. I am your host, and today I have on Mr. Wayne Hall from the UK, another international guest. I'm so happy to have him on. He is a computing and business teacher or professor at Darlington College in the UK, and he is also a Google certified level 2. He's a Google certified educator as well, and his aspirations is to be a trainer. And I am so happy to have you on today. Welcome, Wayne.
Hello, thank you very much. Good morning over there.
Yeah, it's definitely morning, and over in the UK where you're at, it's 19 degrees and it is 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's 3 in the afternoon. It's raining. Yeah, it's not a very pleasant day at the minute.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Okay, yeah, my background is computing and electronics, and I used to run my own electrical installation business many years ago. But my main goal ever since school was to get into computing. And when I was 16, I wanted to go to our local college and do maths and computing. And my dad said, no, you're not, you're getting a job. So that's how I ended up in engineering. And over a number of years, got my degree and then got a few computing jobs and then worked around that way. And then 20 years ago coming up, I saw a job advertised for somebody with electrical engineering experience and computing experience at a local college, and I applied for that job and I got it. I don't know whether you could actually do it now, but I applied for the job on the Wednesday. I had the interview on the Friday and I started on the Monday.
Oh my goodness, that's awesome.
Yeah, and really I've never looked back since. Moving into education has been the best thing I've done. It's a quick area. It moves very, very fast. Things are changing all of the time. And my other role in education now is also as a staff coach. So once staff have gone through an observation process or whatever, then they would come to me for guidance about how to improve their teaching and their learning. But they don't just wait for that observation process. Some of them do become quite efficient at searching me out to find out how to do things and what's the best way of dealing with classroom management and what's the best way of integrating classroom with something that they want to do. So it's quite a broad role that I have, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Yeah, it's a great role to have. I have a role similar to that as well, and you're always learning something new. You're never bored, and you're always helping people, which is nice.
That's right.
So that's why it's nice to have you on, because you're going to share more of how to use Google Forms and FormMule at the college level. So this show is going to demonstrate a whole different audience on how to use the same tools that we use at K-12, but at the college level, because sometimes at the college level, we tend to just dismiss them because, we're more focused on K-12. We use the tools. And then here in the US, sometimes we just kind of figure, okay, the kids are on their own. They got a good foundation K-12 with the tools and how to use it, and select the tools that they need to complete the job. And at the college level, we just assume that they know it, and sometimes they still need that. And it's nice to hear your perspective on using Google Forms and especially FormMule, which is an add-on for Forms. So I'm going to let you take it away, because I want to hear what you have to say and learn from you as well.
Okay, lovely. I'll share my screen and then we'll start there.
Sounds good.
There we go. Okay, how's that?
I can see myself.
You can see yourself. Excellent. That's good then, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, so as Kim mentioned there, I do work in a post-16 college, which means that most of our students are 16 to 19. We've got just under just over 1,400 students, and you can see on this presentation I've prepared for something else that we get students from all across the northeast. This is Darlington here, but we get the vast majority of our students from around about. So we use a whole range of tools to keep in touch with our students and make sure that they're working well. Now, a lot of our qualifications are BTEC, which is part of the Edexcel and Pearson family of qualifications. And part of that is that we have to ensure that when we put an assignment out to students, it's correct and it's assessing the correct things, it's correcting at the right level, it's assessing at the right level, and there's enough guidance there that the students will be able to complete the assignment, but without too much guidance that we're helping them too much. So there's something called the IV process, or the internal verification process. Now, this is predominantly a paper-based exercise. So one of the first tasks that we looked at, coming up about 2-3 years ago now, was to remove the paper from that exercise. So we started to use Google Forms. Now, what I'm showing here is our BTEC internal quality assurance. And this is just a number of questions that we took directly from the BTEC internal verification form. So we're asking here whether we're going to submit a form for internal verification or whether we're going to internally verify it. So that would be whether you've written the assignment and you're sending it off to the internal verifier, or whether they're going to carry on and do that. Then we're asking here what course it's for. So whether it's for the systems networking or whether it's for the computer programming systems design course. And then we've just got the module numbers down here, and then the assessors and the internal verifiers. Now we need all of those, as you'll see in a second, for who's actually going to complete the form. So I'll run through how that works. Now, my colleague, Jason, will be somewhere at home now. So I'm going to submit an assignment for internal verification. So I'm going to say it's for the system support and networking. The assignment title is Test Ignore, so he doesn't get excited. We'll choose Unit 1. And the criteria that are covered are P1, 2, 3, and a merit 1. And let's give them a distinction as well. So that's the criteria that's going to be covered. Now, it's me who's putting it in, so I'm the assessor. The internal verifier for this unit is Jason. So there's Jason's email address. Now, this here is where we're going to take the email address, the URL for the form. So let's just say I'm going to share this. Let's assume that this is our the assignment brief. Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to get a shareable link for that. Copy that link. And then I'm going to paste that back into that form over here.
So this is a student filling this out, right?
No, this is me. This is an assessor. This is lecturing stuff.
This is a teacher then filling it out? Yes.
Okay. So the teachers taught the subject for 5 or 6 weeks. Now they're going to assess the student's knowledge in an assignment. Now the assignment has to meet certain criteria. So it's got to be written in a form that meets the criteria as laid out by BTEC. So we're checking what the students have actually learned. But then also it's got to meet a certain standard around legibility and the like.
Okay.
Okay, so Jason will now get an email to say that Wayne submitted a form for you to internally verify to make sure that he's correctly written the assignment before it goes out to the students. So let's see what Jason would do now. So Jason would now open his email. Let's see if it's come to me. I might even have a copy of that now. Let's have a look. Here we go. IV, no, nothing in there. And has it come to my junk email? There we are. It's in my junk email for some reason. Obviously, I haven't got the
filter.
Yeah, the filter set up on there properly. So we'll copy that link address. And I want to do the internal verification. So next. So Jason would actually click on that link. He'd be able to see that the assignment has been written correctly, and it's for part of the unit. So most of our units we teach either over a semester or 2 semesters, which means that they could have anywhere between 2 and 5 different assignments that checking different learning outcomes. So this is for part. And are accurate unit details shown? Yes, they are. Are the unit details clear? Are the deadlines clear? Are the aims of the assessment clear? So is it clear to the student what
like an
they're being
objective or something?
That's right, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does each task show the learning aim? Yes, it does. Does the task provide full coverage? Yes, it does. I'll just go through and click all of these because I'm really good at these. I've never had one sent back. Comment for the above section, all written well. Now remember, this is Jason filling this in, not me or any of my other colleagues that I work with. And then I would click next. Now that's submitted. So if I go back to my email now, let's see if that's going to pop into here. I should now get an email back to say that the assignment has been completed. It's been internally verified and found not to have any issues.
So did it go out to the students yet?
It hasn't gone to the students yet, no. Now the students won't see that for a little while yet. So let's go back to that form. So let's see how I've set that up. Let's go back to edit that. So leave that. Now I've used different sections. So depending upon the response from the assessor as they're filling these things in, will depend on where the next section moves to. So each of these will go to a different area depending upon whether I want to internally verify it or whether I want to submit it. It'll also go to a different point. If I am internally verifying it, it'll go to a different point to whether it's been internally verified as satisfactory, as being good, or whether it's been internally verified to say that it needs extra work. In which case, I would get an email back to say that please resubmit once you've made these corrections.
So when you do workflow, all right, so I understand you got your form, the assessor comes in, fills it out, and it's kind of verifying what the assessor did it meet the guidelines and everything, and then it gets verified again, and you're using you're using the section or the section breaks in the form to determine what section it's going to go to depending on a response. After this whole thing is done, all right, it gets sent out, you get email verifications. So obviously you're using different tools or add-ons to send these emails out.
Yes.
So why don't you explain that workflow as well? Because without that,
absolutely,
the workflow would be really intense.
Yeah, that's right. That's the magic, isn't it? So so all of these responses that we get then feed into the spreadsheet in the background. And this is where we use our FormMule. So we can see there that we've got a number of assignment briefs. Now, the one that I'm showing here is the one from a couple of years ago. So it's not the one that we're working on now because staff have changed and so I'm just using it as our test bed. So we can see that we've got a number of assignments here that have been IV'd, internally verified. My computer is working hard here to catch up with itself. Before we move on, just let it still working. So you can see that the IV process has been carried out, because if it hasn't, that would state these on the left-hand side would still say submit. Okay, so we're ready now. So the add-on that we're using is FormMule. I'll just show you how we've set that up.
And FormMule uses, it's an email merge correct?
It is. Yes.
So
Yeah.
with
So,
FormMule, do you have to have a draft email already saved in your inbox so it knows what the
yes. No,
email's going to say, or does it do it all in here?
it does it all in here.
Okay.
Does it all in here. So we can start off by setting up so that send on form submission. So every time somebody submits an internal verification form, the actions take place, or we can set for a time trigger. Now we want things to happen straight away, so we've got it sent for send on form submission. The next thing that we need is to decide what the workflows actually are going to be, or what are the options. So we need to build a bit of a flow chart. So this is quite simple, and I'll show you one that's slightly more complex later on. So here we've got IV submitted, we've got an IV is completed, or IV actions. So those are the only three things that could actually happen through this form. We submit something for internal verification, and then it's either fine, complete, or it needs some actions doing to it. Okay, now that depends upon what falls into each of the columns on the spreadsheet. So we select the column that we want to take that answer from. And of course, that would be, would you like to submit? And then the IV is overall, the assignment is fit for purpose. Okay. And then the overall, the assignment is not fit for purpose. It's got actions. So we'll save those template settings. And then we can move through to our next bit. So those three are our triggers. We'll now see what the templates look like for those. Let's have a little think again. Here we are. So these are the email templates that we've set up. So for our first submission, it will take the email address from our form and insert it here. It'll take the assessor's email address and insert it there. And then add the subject. So here we've got an assignment has been submitted for IV by, and it would say W Hall in this case. And then in the body, we've got a brief message. So an assignment has been submitted by, and then it selects from the assessor column who the assessor is going to be. For internal verification for unit, and then it selects the unit number with assignment title, and the assignment can be found at, and that's the URL of the Google Doc that we copied earlier. And then finally, to carry out the internal verification, use this form edit URL. Now each of these, the bits in the brackets, is taken from this right-hand column here, and
Which
these are our triggers.
Those are the tags from the form or the column.
From the form, that's right. So each of these is, so you can see we've got timestamp on the left here, and that's the first one to appear. And would you like to submit? Would you like to submit? So each of these is a heading from the form.
From the spreadsheet.
And that's what we're putting. That's right.
Yeah. So let me recap this, because for viewers that are just listening through the podcast. So this, what Wayne is explaining, is basically an email template that you build within the FormMule add-on for Google Sheets. And basically you create your template using your, customized message, and you add merge tags into the message. So the merge tags can be email addresses, it could be, people's names, and all of that is displayed right when you build your template here. So it's really laid out very nicely here. And you can have multiple templates as well, as what Wayne was explaining, because he has 3 conditions, and basically he'll have 3 different templates for his conditions.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. So there we've got the 3 different templates. We've got submitted, which is the one we've just looked at. We've got the IV complete to say that the IV can be as being found to be okay. And then the other one is the IV actions to say that the following comments were made against the assignment brief on the form, that my colleague would have filled in, and then that would be emailed back to me to say, these are the actions I need to carry on with. So let's save and send on. Now, we haven't actually submitted anything there, so nothing will happen on this time. However, Jason will have received an email to say that something has been submitted for him to look at. But I pretended to be Jason for that afternoon there. So we use that for our internal verification. What we then do is, and actually, let's have a look. If we go to the bottom of our sheet, we've not gone too far. There we are. You can see that we've submitted for that unit with test ignore. That's the criteria that we're going to have a look at. I put it in for Jason to look at, and everything appears on this form. Now, I have been asked about what if the awarding body, BTEC, Edexcel, come in and say, can we see your paper forms? Well, that has happened, and all we did was we showed them this, and they were quite happy. There was no issues around it not being on paper.
So what did they, so if you scroll over, so we're still in the response sheet. So
Yes.
if you scroll over, because after it does the merge and it sends out the email, you can simply click on the link in the spreadsheet to access the assignment.
Yes, that's right.
Right there, formatted URL. So that's actually, is that why they were satisfied with it? Because they were able to get to each assignment through the link?
Yeah, they were able to see that the assignment, that the work had actually been carried out. Go away. And that the format was different to what they were used to, but they could see that it had been IV'd. They could see the assignment brief. They could see that we had actually gone through these questions here, which is exactly the same as the ones that they have on their paper-based form. And they were more than happy to say, yeah, it fits the bill.
So that's really great, because you took a paper-based workflow, yes, and basically just recreated it using Google Forms and then a response sheet with the FormMule add-on. Yes. And you digitized it so that depending on certain criteria, it would send out a specific email. And then once the FormMule ran, it linked to the assignment, which I can't believe that other people don't do this, because it's just, and everything is all in one file. Like everything, right, yeah, everything lives right in the response sheet. So if you got audited and they were satisfied with this, that goes to show you that this workflow is acceptable at that level. Yeah, which is nice.
It is, yeah. Previously, we would either have to fill in a paper form, multiple paper forms for each assignment. So we could have, 9 modules with 3 assignments each. So there's 27 paper forms that we would have to photocopy and package up, email off, or scan and email off to somebody, or actually put them into a package that put them in the old proper mail and send it off with a portfolio. But now we share our Google Classroom, and we share this form with the external verifier, and he or she can see that it's all being followed
properly. Yeah. Properly. So after it's verified, okay, yes, then you put the assignment in Google Classroom?
Yeah, after that, the assignment goes in Google Classroom directly from that link that's on the form. So that we know that the students have got the assignment that has been internally verified.
So someone manually has to do that as well, right?
Yeah,
that's a manual workflow where you would just copy the link from the response sheet, create an assignment in Google Classroom. Okay. Yeah. Just trying to make sure I follow you.
Yeah, exactly the same way as you would do with any other assignment that you're creating to go onto Classroom.
Now, let me ask you this, because you had said that you have many students that are distant learning.
Yeah, yeah.
When you put that assignment in Google Classroom, all right, how are you organizing your classwork page? Do you assign topics to it? Do you give it, like, how do you do that? Just give us, just briefly tell us what you do and how you define that assignment.
Yeah, absolutely. We have one classroom per course, or that's what we're trying to push most staff to do. We're quite free with how they do it at the minute, but we'd like to see one classroom per course just for everything being together rather than students being inundated with lots of different classrooms. And then it is all broken down into topics, and then each topic is then subdivided down to teaching material and then assignments. And also to differentiate that, what we've started to do, or what some of the staff started to do, is use emojis to really make it clear where the assignments are. So the assignments will have a target next to them. The material will have a book next to them, because it's not always clear with the icons that are native in Classroom what an assignment is and which are the which is material. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So when you create now, do you use the create material post?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's always a good tip to when I use Google Classroom, I use emojis as like topic indicators. So it just stands out and it's a little more visual because like you said, sometimes it gets blended in there and then you're searching for things and it's not standing out. So
that's right.
Yeah, I do agree with that. The emoji thing is nice. All you do is you find an emoji and you copy it, and then when you're creating your topic in Google Classrooms, you just paste it right along your text in the topic, and it shows up very nicely there. So wow, that's an amazing workflow. I'm really glad that you showcased this. I've used FormMule. I've used it in the past, but my go-to mail merge is yet another mail merge add-on in Google Sheets. And what that's a little bit different than FormMule because I actually have to create a draft email and save it in my draft folder in my Gmail. And in that draft email, I'm actually typing everything in with my merge tabs that I used. And it just that draft lives in my Gmail, in my draft folder. Whereas FormMule, it's all kind of built into that add-on in the Google Sheet, which is nice.
It is,
yeah, it's nice. It's just a different way of merging, you know.
Yeah, I tried 2 or 3 before we settled on FormMule, and it seemed to be the one that worked the best.
Yeah.
Without too much faffing on.
Yeah, and like you said before too, it's you had set filters in your inbox to filter the mail so that you can create labels or folders in your mail so that these emails get when they get automated, they go right into a specific folder, so you're not really cluttering up your inbox.
That's right.
And that's that's the whole beauty of digitizing the workflow is once you get it down, you're like, okay, let's see what else we can do to it to make it a little bit more better. So I hear you. I mean, sometimes like and I use yet another mail merge again because it lives in my Gmail. But then when I go back into the spreadsheet, I'm like, oh no, what did I use? Did I use yet another mail, or did I use FormMule? Because I don't remember. And sometimes I have to go back into the spreadsheet and look at the columns that get populated automatically by the add-on to see which one I used. So now I learned, right, in my draft email, I'll put like YTT or yet another mail merge, like YAMM. I'll put that in there, YAM, so I know it's from that add-on. So you'll learn, right? You have to tweak it.
It is about it's about iterations, isn't it? It's trying it, it's seeing what works, and then it's about honing in on what it is that you actually want it to do. And a lot of these things don't work first time.
No,
this didn't just happen. It was a good few hours of experimentation and finding out who he'd actually emailed and how he'd emailed and what limits there were to it. But it's working well for us. We're really happy with it.
And how long have you been using this workflow?
About 3 years now.
Oh, wow. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
yeah, and we're trying to roll it out across more of the college.
And when you started, did you start it as like with a pilot group, like with a small pilot group at first to make
Yes.
sure you worked out any kinks that you can and then move into a bigger group?
Yeah, it was very much very much a small pile. I mentioned Jason earlier. It was very much just me and him, and he was my guinea pig. And once I got that working, then we added the other members of the department in the computing department, and then we rolled it out to business, and then media have shown interest in it, and they've used it, and other areas have shown interest in it and moved on to it.
That's awesome.
So it is about chipping away slowly, and then once people can see the practice and how easy it is to use and how much time it saves, and then they're very quick to take it on board.
Yeah, I agree. I think I always say like people don't like change and it's a mindset and they don't want to learn new things. So I try to encourage people like if you take the time in the beginning and learn, in
Yeah.
the end you'll be rewarded with that time back.
Uh-huh.
And your workflow will be more efficient, it'll be easier, it'll be
Yeah.
faster. But you just got to invest the time in the beginning to learn it. And then once you feel comfortable with it, you will definitely get that time back. So I really highly recommend digitizing anything that you can, because you will reward yourself with
Oh, you
time.
do. You do. We're actually our Google partner, Vitalize. We're one of their leading colleges, so they have a number of schools and colleges across the country. I think there's 6 of us now who are innovative in how we're using Google tools, and they're often using us as a little bit of a showcase about how we are saving time and saving money and the like.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned earlier, 40% of our students travel in for maybe an hour a day on the bus, an hour in and an hour home. So the time that they're doing work on the bus saves them doing that time when they get home.
Yeah,
So yeah,
exactly. Yeah, that's awesome.
um,
That's awesome. I'm glad to see that it's been successful for you and the students there and the staff there. That's what it's all about, trying to make your life a little bit easier. So I'm thankful for you to share that with us at that level. Like it can be done. Like it's just you just gotta just do it. I
uh,
just tell everybody just do it. What do you have like what do you have to lose? You have nothing to
yeah,
lose.
yeah,
Just do it. So you have to just just venture out into the unknown and take that risk and try it out in a small group first, work out the kinks in there, and then you just gradually move forward with it, and then at the end you have something that is really you can be proud of. But
yeah.
well, thank you for sharing, Wayne. I really appreciate it.
No
um,
problem. Enjoyed it.
I am going to share my screen really quick. Um, can you see
I
yourself?
can.
All
Yes.
right. I'm actually changing up my website. So if you go to the sweettalk.com, that's the SUITE talk.com, you can I'm changing it all up. So on
Yeah.
my homepage now, you'll see the latest episode. I'll have the podcast link here in the schedule. There'll be trending episodes here. If you want to be a guest on the show, you can fill out the guest form here. You can join the Facebook community. All right, join the Sweet Talk community on Facebook. If you want to see past episodes, you can click on the episode page, and you can certainly go through the table here and find any past episodes that you would like to watch, and you can click on the show notes. And one thing I'm just gonna mention is my idea board for Jamboard. Is It's just a resource to go over like what Jamboard is, and basically give people some inspiration on using it in the classroom. It's really an introduction. I give you some ideas on how you can use it. And if you are using it, please share by filling out this form here so that other people can try it out and be inspired by your idea. Your idea will be included in my resource. So, with that said, one more thing. I got to go back to my homepage here. I'm getting used to my new layout here of my website, Wayne. You can follow me on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, and my blog. My podcast is also available on Podbean, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, and Google Podcasts. And you can sign up for the newsletter as well.
Yep.
And that's basically it. Let me go back. Here I am. Yeah, I started redesigning my website, and I have to get used to it. I'm still a work in progress, but it's
Yeah.
I like how it's looking. My friend Jeff Bradbury gave me some tips on redesigning it, so I'm following his recommendations right now. But that's it. That concludes our show. I hope that people found it helpful. And tune in next time to hear more about how you can align technology in the classroom. Until then, thank you for tuning in and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.